Martha doesn't like to talk about her future anymore. She'd wanted to go to med school, become an OB-GYN, and she's exactly the kind of kid everyone roots for. She grew up in a poor, mostly immigrant neighborhood in East LA, where most people didn't graduate from high school, and nobody talked about college. But Martha got into UCLA. She couldn't believe it. UCLA. She majored in chemistry, threw herself into 6-hour lab sessions, ran a volunteer organization on campus. But the fact is, she can't become a doctor. She can't work at all in the United States, not legally anyway. She's an undocumented immigrant. Her mother brought her to the U.S. from Mexico when she was 9. So now she's a waitress, earning minimum wage, working off the books, and it may be the best job she can hope to get. The worst part?
Well, first of all, I suck at it. My boss always gets these complaints from me. Oh, she takes too long to get my drinks. She forgot to put this on my order. She changed my order. I asked her, well done, and she brought medium. And I'm extremely clumsy. I really suck at it. I can't multitask. I'm horrible at that. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm very clumsy by nature, and you can't be a clumsy waitress. You know, that's like an oxymoron. That's one thing. And the other thing is, I am a very proud person, and I don't like people treating me a certain way. So, like, many people have come and told me, oh, here, you can have here's $20 for the milk for your baby boy. People look at me and right off the bat assume that, you know, I have a bunch of children, I'm probably a single mother, and that bothers me. And I think being a waitress bothers me because people don't see my potential.
When Martha arrived at UCLA, she figured she'd be the only undocumented kid there. But she was wrong. She found others. A high school valedictorian and prom queen from Compton who went to UCLA when the Marines rejected her. Only legal residents can enlist. Another valedictorian, brought to the United States as an infant, who spoke her first word in English. A shy girl who arrived as a toddler and took 11 AP classes in high school. They are a tiny, close community. They actually have a small student club. They go out and mentor undocumented high school kids and raise money for scholarships. And they understand each other in a way that no one else can. Like what they go through to stay in school. Most live really far from campus. 2.5 hours in Martha's case. And they have to be creative to survive.
Being on hobo mode is something that we students, undocumented students specifically, that's what we call it. You know, it's living on campus because we don't have a home near campus because we can't afford it. It's really, really expensive. So we'd stay here days at a time, sometimes a week, or sometimes, in my case, I did it weeks at a time. I would stay in the library and sleep in the library. I would store my food in like a lounge in a building. I would take showers in the locker room, and I would store all my clothing because I'd bring underwear. I'd bring a change of clothes for every single day and store in the locker room. And it's really difficult to do that, and also it's kind of stigmatizing because you kind of get ashamed if people find out you're in hobo mode.
20 years ago, California allowed undocumented kids to go to state universities, with financial aid and everything. 5 years later, the courts reversed that. Kids like Martha would have to pay huge out-of-state fees. 4 years after that, a ballot initiative barred undocumented kids from college altogether. Then the courts got involved again. Today, the laws for someone like Martha are different in every state. 10 states, including California and Texas, allow undocumented kids to go to state schools and pay in-state tuition. But no financial aid. No Pell Grant, no work-study job, not even a student loan. To apply for a green card, which would solve all her problems, Martha would have to quit school, move to Mexico, wait in a line that can stretch 10 or 15 years, and most likely get rejected. Last year, Martha found a perfect job to support herself, on campus even, but she couldn't accept it. A UCLA professor needed a research assistant, someone to help her interview Spanish-speaking families in East LA. Martha knew the neighborhood, spoke Spanish fluently. The professor called Martha to say she got the job.
And I got the phone call, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is a really good job. But it didn't click to me that I was going to be on the payroll. I thought, oh, well, maybe she can just pay me cash or whatever. I was very naive. And I was really bummed out, but I try not to think about it too much.
What kept you motivated through all of this?
Med school. I want to go to med school. I still want to. I mean, still a possibility it could happen. It's just not now.
Why did you want to be a doctor?
I want to be a doctor because I've always seen myself as a public servant. but I also see myself as a scientist. And to me, that's the only thing that I see myself doing, because it gains you respect from people. And, well, right now I try not to think about it because it depresses me that I can't do it right now.
Listening to you, I get the sense that you think that respect is something that you have to fight for.
Yes. Unfortunately, not everybody gets respect just by being a human being. I'm not the kind of person that seeks power. I don't like that. I don't want to rule people. That's not what I want. I'm not ambitious in that sense. I just would like to be someone whose opinion people respect. Someone like say, oh, there's this really important issue that we need to solve and we need your help. Or someone that people will say, oh, look, there she is. Let's go talk to her because we really like her work. We really like what she does. That kind of thing.
When Martha and I talked, she kept calling herself a quitter. She said the word like it was the worst word she knew. She said it over and over. I told her she was being ridiculous. I've known Martha for almost 2 years, and I've never seen someone put so much pressure on herself. When her grades were mediocre, she wouldn't blame her home life, or her commute, or the pair of double waitressing shifts she worked most weekends. She would just say she hadn't tried hard enough. One quarter, desperate to find more time to study, she actually started driving to school, even though it scared her to drive without a license. As an undocumented immigrant, she's not allowed to get one. I kept asking her, "What do you mean, quitter?" Finally, she explained.
Fall quarter, I just gave up on myself. I dropped all my classes and then withdrew from the quarter because I felt so tired. I felt like I don't want to do this anymore.
That was the quarter that you were going to graduate at the end of that quarter?
Mm-hmm. Right at that quarter. Can you believe that? It was the last quarter. I could have just worked harder. But I didn't. I was just so overwhelmed. And my future is so uncertain and so unbelievably sad that I think to myself, well, why should I try, harder? I just give up on that. Good night. Sorry. I shouldn't give up because a lot of people don't, and the fact that I do really hurts me. None of my friends know. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't talk to anybody about it because it's really embarrassing for me to say that I'm such a quitter.
What happened to Martha is she saw graduation approaching, and after it, nothing. The blankness of her future, suddenly only weeks away, drained the fight right out of her. Her entire college career seemed like a mean joke. She had exhausted herself, working twice as hard as most of her classmates to get a UCLA education, plus waitressing, plus the commute, plus cooking and cleaning when her parents were working, which was most of the time. And for what? She had no way to pay for a medical degree, and no hope of becoming a licensed doctor if she did. There's a very simple solution to all of this. A bill called the DREAM Act would offer conditional citizenship to those few kids, like Martha, who grow up in the United States and make it to college or the military. If they get a degree or finish their service, they become full citizens. By 2004, the Senate version of the DREAM Act had actually picked up 47 co-sponsors. But the DREAM Act keeps getting bogged down in immigration politics, tacked onto a bunch of big, messy immigration proposals that nobody in Congress could agree on. Earlier this year, the DREAM Act was introduced again in the House and Senate. How would your working life change if you became a legal resident or a citizen tomorrow?
Wow, the possibilities are endless. The sky's the limit. I mean, I could take any job I wanted, and I'm good at a lot of things. I mean, I could take any job at any lab. I could work for UCLA. Sometimes I think, well, what if it's not enough? That I'll still be unhappy. But the more I think about it, that's not a possibility. I mean, yes, a green card is not going to buy you happiness, but it's going to buy you a lot of peace of mind. It really is. Just being able to work with dignity.
Martha went back to school a few days ago, and I don't think her temporary dropout counts as quitting, no matter how she sees it. She hasn't given up hope. Maybe the laws will change. Maybe there will be a normal life for her here after all. She graduates in June.